1. So, looking into my past, I've realized I've had a few stories that could fit into this subreddit. This one I think about a lot, and how my life could have changed in a split second. At the time, I was quite young, maybe around 6 to 7 years old. But I still remember it so perfectly. I was in central London for the day with my family, and it was getting to the evening, so we had begun heading home. We don't live too far out of central London, so we were just going to get a taxi to the nearest train station and head back from there. Being so young, inexperienced with the world, and plain stupid, when we got out of the taxi at the train station, I thought it was custom to wave goodbye to taxi drivers as they drove off. Yeah, stupid. So after I'd finished waving goodbye to this complete stranger of a taxi driver, I turned around and saw my family completely gone, vanished out of thin air. I was so young, I had no idea what had just happened. They just suddenly weren't anywhere to be seen. Being a short kid, everyone was like giants at this age. It was terrifying. At that moment, everything I ever learned about stranger danger completely went out the window and no longer mattered. I was just terrified. So I remember choosing to sit in the middle of the pavement and do the only thing I knew how to, and just cry, hoping my parents would soon find me. "Are you okay?" I looked up to the side and saw a man sat on a bench next to me, but sat in a way where his bum was on the backrest bit and his feet were on the seat, making him completely tower over me. I remember the image of him so clearly. "I've lost my family. Let me help you find them." I can't remember the exact conversation very well, except for the next thing he said. I think I saw them go this way. "Follow me." That line has stuck with me ever since. He stood up and took hold of my hand and started leading me down the road. Completely oblivious and just glad that I had an adult with me now, I just calmly went with him. Just as he was about to lead me round a corner of a building, I heard a voice call my name. My brother, only being 2 years older than me at the time, had come running out of the train station and seen me just before I was about to completely disappear out of sight around another road in London. A few seconds later running outside, and there's no way he would have seen me. My parents followed and quickly ran out too, grabbing me away from the man, making sure I was okay. I don't remember what happened to the man after that. Part of my memory says he quickly ran away after my family got me. Another part tells me that he stayed and explained to my parents his course of events. None of us really remember. I just know that I'm so lucky I didn't go round that corner with him. I always think how different my life could have been if I did. Thinking about it, the station entrance was only a few meters from where I'd sat down to cry. It wasn't that busy. The man must have seen my family go into the station. But that's one thing I'll luckily never know the answer to. Two. So, I've had quite a few bad experiences with strange people and my house. From when I was young, an old man would come banging on our door late at night, demanding to see me, causing me to have to hide in the house and not be allowed into my garden alone for years. Or when a man came knocking on our door late at night with a knife because he mistook our house for my neighbor's. These experiences all caused me to be very cautious about opening the front door to anyone, or even being in the house alone, especially at night. But one evening was definitely the worst. It was around 6 p.m. in November 2018. I'm from England, meaning it was already pitch black outside at this time of the year. I had just got home from work and was sat in my room upstairs, just watching YouTube on my laptop. My mom shouted up to me that she was just going to pick my brother up from work and would be stopping off at the petrol station on the way back, so she would be gone for a little bit, and asked if I wanted to come. I said no and carried on with my video. I heard her close the front door and pull out of the driveway. I was 17 at the time, so being home alone at night was nothing new to me, and I was used to the eerie feeling of it. But after around 10 minutes, I started hearing noises coming from downstairs. At first, I thought nothing of it, and just related it to my cat noisily searching for food in an empty bowl, until I remembered him sitting at the end of my bed. I paused my video and listened more at the sound of banging on the back door. This instantly creeped me out, until it was followed by the sound of keys jangling, and I just thought, oh, my mom must have just dropped my brother off before going to the petrol station, and he's just trying to go outside, so I let the noise continue as I kept watching my video. He can get quite angry sometimes, so the loud banging was nothing out of the ordinary. But it just kept carrying on. Banging and the sounds of keys jangling, then dropping, then banging again. Then the fear really hit me. I don't think it's him. I walked out of my room slowly and sat on the stairs, listening carefully to the noise. It definitely wasn't him. I'm a very anxious person, and everyone gets those times late at night when they hear noises and immediately think the worst. This was just one of those, I told myself. So I decided to bite the bullet and just walk straight into the kitchen and face whatever it was causing the noise. Our kitchen has the door straight to the garden. But as I turned the corner into the kitchen, I heard a loud bang and clatter of footsteps run away. The cat flap had been ripped off the door, and there was plastic from it everywhere. In fear, I still tried to console myself into thinking it could be anything other than people breaking in. I sat back on the stairs and called my mom, just to check again that it wasn't my brother home early and just in a bad mood. But then he answered my mom's phone, while still in the car. "Are you at home?" I shouted at him. "No." Then my voice started to break with terror. "Please be serious. Are you at home right now?" "No, what do you want?" Even though he said he wasn't, I still begged in my mind that he was joking, just to get a scare out of me. But he heard how scared I was and began to worry. I explained to him what happened, and he started to scream at me to call the police. He's never been the protective type, but I could tell now he was really worried, and told my mom to rush back home straight away. Whilst dialing 999, I tried so hard to stay calm. I told them exactly what was happening as I hid back in my room with the door tightly locked. Then I heard talking and the banging of doors again downstairs. They were back. I burst into tears to the dispatcher out of pure fear and sat on the phone for what felt like forever until my mom, brother, and police all pulled up at the same time. Everyone charged through the house to the back door, and we instantly saw what they'd done. The people saw the keys to the back door on the side in the kitchen, took a broom from outside, broke it in half on the door handle, got the broom through the cat flap, knocked the keys off the side, and pulled them through the cat flap. Although out of pure luck, as they broke the broom in half, they also managed to snap off the door handle, making it impossible for it to be opened from the outside. Otherwise, they would have got in, no questions asked, and I would have been sat quietly in my room, completely oblivious. Three. About 15 years ago, when I was 22-ish, my best girl and I went out to bars 3 to 4 nights a week and generally met some interesting people and made new friends. There were a few bars that we hit up more than others, and one in particular where we knew the bartender and manager pretty well. We went the week of Halloween, and each night their staff would dress up in a different costume. This was where we came across Ron. He was bouncing at this bar and didn't even catch my eye in the slightest as I gave him my ID to get in. Until a few years ago, I never looked anyone in the face. I have to force myself to do it. My girl and I hung out, drank, and danced, met some people, then headed up to the bar to chat with our friend. He asked me what I thought about Ron. I had no idea who he meant, and he gestured to the bouncer, to which I was like, meh. He was older looking, very muscular, turned out to be a major gym rat. I was 22-ish, dressed in black and skulls and platforms. Didn't seem my type on the outside. But bartender friend vouched for him, said he was really a cool guy. He asked if he could give Ron my number, and I figured it would be okay. I hear from him the next day, and he wants to hang. At the time, I lived with my uncle and aunt, so he invited me to meet at his place, and we would just go have a casual hang somewhere. Simple, middle-of-the-day chill. I get there, and his apartment door is wide open, and his much better looking, married, and closer to my age, best friend is there. He seems nice enough, and I didn't feel unsafe as they left the door wide open, and again, my bartender friend had vouched for him. He mentions he needs to grab a few office supplies, so the three of us pile in his douchey car and head to an office supply store. We go in, and as we walk in, a pretty girl walks by, and he does the head thing and completely stares at her, like the obvious follow her with his head thing. We aren't together, but I found it to be rude. So later in the car I mention it. I tell him, hey, look, I know we're just hanging out, but don't disrespect me like that. Everyone looks, but be less obvious and don't make me look like an ass in public. He laughs and tells me that it's hot that I stood up for myself, especially on our first hangout. Okay. We get back to his place, and as we walk inside, he says, I like that. You're gonna have a ring on your finger by December. Remember, we met Halloween week. So, anyway, his friend leaves, we get takeout, and hang, and drink, and just talk. Turns out, he is from the same tiny town that my parents are from, which is 6 hours south of us. He's a Desert Storm veteran, which made him more than 20 years older than me, and was back in school to finish his degree. Worked full-time during the week, and bounced at night and on weekends. Seemed decent. He asks about my tattoos. I have a lot. And we talked about my love of horror and fascination with true crime and serial killers. He seems interested, but says he doesn't know much about them. So I tell him I'll lend him my encyclopedia of serial killers, so it can be like a crash course for him. Maybe a week later, we hang out again, and I bring him the book. We hang multiple times. I even sleep there a few times. One day, we were hanging out and day drinking heavily. He says something to me that felt very much like he was getting way too comfortable too fast. Like telling me to do something. I told him not to speak to me that way and turned to walk away when my head jerked back. He had grabbed my hair at the base of my neck. I grabbed his hand and he tried to laugh it off and apologize, saying he didn't mean to be that rough, and tried to act like it was some sort of foreplay, but I cut that off real quick. I wanted to leave, but was already very buzzed, so I just sat, and he said he was going to do some work. I thought I would just let the buzz wear off, head home, and never talk to this guy again. While I'm sitting, and he's working, he suddenly decides to tell me in graphic detail about his favorite serial killer in the book so far, and why. I think the way he is talking about it seems off, but again, I'm just waiting out my buzz. He starts working on a sociology assignment that is studying urban legends and such. He plays videos with horrible, creepy content, and it's creeping me out. I realized later that I felt that way because I didn't feel safe with him. I ask him to wait until I'm gone to play it out loud or put on headphones, and he laughs at me, tells me he can't believe I'm such a poser, tells me, "You have all these tattoos and skulls and really you're scared. You look all goth or punk rock but you're terrified." He laughs this scary laugh. He is really enjoying that this creeps me out. I don't want to drive even mildly buzzed. I tell him that his reaction is really scaring me. I love scary things, but I realize this guy is enjoying watching me squirm in a really sick way. And he loves it. His face gets completely serious, and he suddenly tells me that he has his machete under his mattress. I look and see the handle barely sticking out. He tells me he could make me disappear, and nobody would ever find my body. In that moment, my adrenaline hit. I grabbed my bag and ran to my car. He sort of slowly lumbered behind me, laughing at me and telling me not to leave. I am stone cold sober at this point, and start my car, take off about 2 minutes down the road by the mall, and just park and slow my breathing down. I call my girl and just unload. For the next week, he texts and calls me over and over, switching between begging me to give him another chance and berating me, calling me a poser and a fake. I tell our bartender friend, and he can't believe that Ron did all of those things. He only works with him a few more times, and they don't talk. Ron set his sights on someone new, another chick in her early 20s. Her family owns the Vietnamese restaurant in the same strip as the bar. Bartender tells us Ron had just started seeing her, and she ended up pregnant immediately. I asked bartender to warn her or give her my number, but he never saw her again. I hope and pray that she didn't get stuck with Ron, and every time I'm in that area, I pray that I don't run into him again. He can keep the encyclopedia. I just hope he hasn't picked up any tips from it. Hello, my lovelies. And thank you for watching my very first video on the Abysmal channel. I've enjoyed recording this, and I enjoy spooky things and scaring myself. It is currently 11:53 p.m. and I'm in the dark by myself, and so I've really gotten a little scared reading these stories, but that's what I love to do. I like scaring myself, so thank you guys again for watching, and please tune in to my next videos and subscribe to my channel. I hope to see you guys again very soon. Bye bye.